Here at Fuckup Nights, I don't read boring speaker bios. What we like to do, the speaker's going to share lots about themselves. We just share 3 fun facts that you might not know about Martin. So, number 1, Martin is a month away from launching from kickstarting a VR app for Dungeons and Dragons. Does anyone here play Dungeons and Dragons? Yeah? Wow, okay. No, that's awesome. Okay. This is good. So he was a Freemason for 5 years, he quit, but he knows a bunch of legit secret handshakes. And maybe if you get him to have a few beers, he'll share them with us later. And finally, he is second cousins with Chad and Mike Kroger. Does anyone know? Founding members of Nickelback, and he apologizes profusely on their behalf. Please welcome to the stage, Martin Hauck.
Yeah, really sorry about that. The Nickelback thing. I forgot that there was the whole stand-up thing. I was going to be cute and do that too, so sorry. Y'all going to get some squats in today. I want everybody to close their eyes for a second. I'll wait until I see everybody's eyes closed. You, sir? All right. Close your eyes and visualize a red apple. We good? Like a collective mm-hmm. There we go. Cool. All right. Now I want you to reach in your back pockets and just take your wallets out and put it on. No. So here is an illustration. So anybody that saw their apple with a 1, please stand up. Anybody saw an apple at the level 2 quality? Stand up. 3s, 4s, and 5s. I'm in the 5 category. What's up? We're 5% of the population. And that's really interesting, but I'm not going to tell you about it until the end. So this is me, this is my family. I lead a community of 4,000 HR recruitment and operations professionals. I'm a recruiter by trade. I've been doing that for the last 10 years. I've worked at mostly startups in the last 7 or so years. And I'm starting an HR consultancy. I'm toying with the idea of calling it Red Feather, something to do with phoenixes and Fox from Harry Potter. We can talk more about how I'm a nerd later. And statistically, you're supposed to enjoy the presentation more if I show you a picture of my family. So that's why this is here. That's my family. I've got 2 little girls. They don't want to be in the picture. And yeah, I like video games, VR, Dungeons and Dragons, and I like long walks on the beach. Everybody knows this meme, relatively familiar. So I figured I'd start quickly. It's not in the order that you see, but yesterday I asked my daughters what they think I fucked up, and I told them they couldn't have fries a few days ago, and that was still lingering. I said, "What's the worst thing that Daddy has ever done?" And she was like, "Daddy, you didn't let me have fries yesterday. I really wanted them." I'm like, okay, so we've got some dietary problems. One of my first jobs, I used an English accent at a tractor supply company on the phone, and then the person came in the next day and said, "Hey, I'd like to talk to the British person," and somehow my boss knew it was me and pointed her in the direction of me, and I had to speak in an English accent in front of him. So that didn't go over well. In one of my first times as a recruiter, first few months of a recruiter, I compared the company that the person was working at as a burger and the company that I was pitching to the candidate as filet mignon. That somehow got from the candidate to the candidate's current company CEO, who called the president of the recruiting firm I was with, and I got called into his office saying, "Why are you slandering companies?" and relating them to different types of food. So clearly I've learned a few things since then. My parents think I fucked up because I got tattoos. My friends think I fucked up by marrying the first person that I married. They're in approval of the second person that I married. And there's this one time when I told my wife I was doing a talk in San Jose, and turns out it was San Diego the whole time, so she booked a flight to San Jose, and I had tickets for San Diego. And thankfully, I'm not on my third marriage, so... And that comes down to what I think I've fucked up, and that's why we're here today. So this is my life. Average age of a male in Canada is about 80 years, and I'm 38. And we're going to talk about the fuck up when I was 36. So it's about 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm using emojis to remind myself about all this shit because I'm not going to memorize anything. So it's about 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm at the laptop. My wife is asleep, and I'm trying not to wake them up. And I'm in front of a laptop that I've been staring at for about 12 to 15 hours, trying to break out a presentation. And I'm crying quietly in front of this laptop and Google Slides that's been empty for 19 hours, 15 hours, whatever. It's like ugly crying, but it's even uglier because I'm trying to be quiet and not wake up my family. And it's, the salty kind of tears. And things that are going through my mind at this point is it shouldn't be this hard. Why can't I just do this? And it's been 12 hours. Why nothing? And so, in order to figure out how I got here, I'm just going to walk you really quickly through my life as quickly as possible because there's 69 slides, and I think that freaked Marsha out. My apologies. So I go to school. I'm doing really well, but being smart got me made fun of. I graduate from elementary, go into high school, find it a little bit boring, try to be cool, end up sleeping in every day. I stopped caring about work. I stopped trying to be smart because that doesn't let me fit in. And my grades go down. I get sent to a guidance counselor's office. I proceed to have a conversation with her where she accuses me of going across the street to the park every day and smoking up, something I'd never done in my life yet. And so I decided to drop out of school. I dropped out in grade 10, and that's probably a fuck up. And the only reason my parents let me stay at the house at the time was because I decided to homeschool. And so I did 2 courses of homeschool. They came in packages of 4, so if I wanted to complete history, I needed to do 4 history packages. I did 2, I got 100% on both. I'm like, cool, I'm smart. So I got a job. Well, no, I didn't get a job. I actually spent like 6 months watching Dragon Ball Z episodes and eating hot dogs. They made these hot dogs that had like cheese embedded into it already. They were delicious. And so my friend was selling ripped versions, like illegal copies of Dragon Ball Z. And I did that for 6 months, so I was QA. I had to watch every episode to make sure that the stuff we were selling on eBay wasn't faulty so we wouldn't get people coming back. So I was QA for Dragon Ball Z, illegal Dragon Ball Z. My parents were like, what the fuck are you doing? If you don't get a job, we're going to kick you out of the house. I'm like, that's pretty fair. So I got a gig at a tractor supply company. I worked there for 3 years. I moved to the city, Toronto, this one. I go to this job fair. I'm the only guy wearing a suit and a dress shirt. I get a job, so I sell nuts and bolts for like 7 years. And I work my face off, and I work extra hard all the time because I am so ashamed of dropping out of school. I'm so ashamed of people finding out that I dropped out of school. I haven't built any confidence around that part of my life. And in moments where I am working really hard, I'm staying late, 8, 9 p.m. every day. I shouldn't have to. My colleagues aren't doing this, but I'm still always trying to catch up to something. Eventually, after 7 years of selling nuts and bolts, I get into recruitment. So a recruiter taps me on the shoulder. These are recruiters, by the way. A recruiter taps me on the shoulder. He says, hey, I got an interesting question for you. I'm like, yeah, I've gotten this call before. I don't want to go work for the competitions like Pepsi, Coke, Fastenal, Grainger. It's the same stuff. Anyways, these guys, he's like, no, it's a more interesting question than that. I want you to come and recruit for us. I'm like, oh, recruit for the industry that you've been working in for the last little bit. I'm like, that's actually interesting. So as I was going through the divorce, he also made it sound like it was crazy lucrative. I'm like, this is going to help pay for the divorce. So I joined this recruitment firm. This is like for each month. I did really good for a lot of months, but then I didn't do good for 3 months. And then they fired me. So I started my own company. And then I worked as a freelance recruiter for 1.5 years. I was recruiting for DZ drivers and plumbers and crane operators and all kinds of industrial and construction folks. And then I wanted to recruit for the tech world because that was the place that I found interesting. So one of the customers I was trying to get business with said, you don't know how to recruit developers, so we like you. We're just going to hire you and train you how to recruit developers. I was like, okay, cool, we'll do that. And so I ended up working for Wrangle, StackAdapt, CoinSquare, and Caseware in Toronto over the last 6 or 7 years. Now, as that's all happening, I've ignored a lot of things in my life in terms of mental health, my abilities, and I am still just pushing myself like crazy to keep catching up. And I'm doing well because working hard is paying off for me in spite of my lack of education. And so the emails are coming in. I've got the people group. You've got the pandemic. My wife is pregnant and our first child's running around the house all the time, and I'm just completely crazy stressed. So what should feel like this actually feels like this. That's my family over there. That's all the work I have. I don't look very happy. I felt super fucking shitty, which brings us back to this wonderful cryptography of a message here, right? So I'm sitting there bawling my face off at 3 a.m., ashamed to tell my wife that I don't know what the fuck's going on. I have a simple task. I need to put together a presentation, and I can't do it, and I don't know why. So I do some research. I find out that I have ADHD, and my friends are like, wait, you don't even fucking know that you have ADHD? The people that laugh the loudest are the closest friends I have here, by the way. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I go to a doctor. She's like, you need to work out more. You need to eat healthy, and you need to meditate. And I'm like, cool. And I did that for 1 year, and it was okay. I lost some weight, felt more peace in my life. And then the question of medication comes up, which was super scary for me because I've always felt like I've had an addictive personality. And I'm not saying that medication is the solution. I'm not saying, hey, if you feel like you have ADHD, go out, get diagnosed, and start taking medication. What I am saying, though, is now that I've started taking medication for ADHD, I've started working out more and eating healthy and doing meditation, all those good things, it's actually been really beneficial for me. And I don't cry in front of the computer at 3 a.m. in the morning for a stupid presentation. And I have a friend, and his name is Bang Lai. It's explosion and lie. Makes sense to me. He was sharing his journey on Facebook about the fear that he had of taking medication. And when I saw that video, he didn't want his personality to be dampened by taking the medication. And that was my fear that I had. And so I started talking to an ADHD coach before even taking it, and that is what led me to the comfort level that I had of getting ready to take medication, starting to improve my life from that perspective, and starting to see things from different perspectives in terms of how can I get off medication now that I've formed good habits and stuff like that. And so you're wondering, where's the fuck up, Martin? Well, I've shared a lot with you, and you're like, give me the juicy one. The juicy one is that I've wasted a lot of fucking time because I waited 2 decades to check in on myself from a mental health perspective. I just kept working and working and working. Everything, I was doing well. I was getting, good success, but I was never checking in on myself. And so here's this life that I've got, right? and I filled it up. You know, I sold tractors and lawnmower parts for 3 years. Great. I'm a recruiter for a bunch of years. I sold nuts and bolts for a long time. I was a paper boy. I washed dishes at the University of Guelph. Which brings me to the unexamined life is not worth living, Socrates, right? And that's something I wasn't doing before. Now I'm doing a lot more of that. And if you were not doing that, that was my only major lesson for you. And the key learnings that I have for you is examine your mind. Check in on yourself. If something's constantly nagging at you, pay attention to it. Don't be like me. Don't be me. Don't wait 20 years to do something about it. Get mentors. Find teachers in your life that will improve it. The amount of people that have come and helped me is crazy. Listen to your heart. That's so fucking cheesy. Like, I feel like I'm going to put that on a Hallmark card. But like, yeah, like, there's a lot of times in my life where I knew deep down inside. It wasn't in my brain. It was in my heart. I'm like, something's not fucking clicking here. Why is this happening? And talk about, like, fuck-up nights, right? Talk about the shit that scares you. This scares me. So you're all probably wondering what the Apple thing was about. And so what I wanted to kind of illustrate with that, because I did see some of your faces, you're like, what the fuck is going on, right? I learned 2-3 years ago about a thing called aphantasia. So like, a bunch of people in this room literally cannot visualize anything. That's me. My wife's like, oh, I had this crazy dream, or like, oh, I'm just going to close my eyes and just imagine what I want to do with this room. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? This is a real thing? That's crazy. And that just kind of highlights the invisible challenges that so many people have. And by Bang sharing his fears of medication on Facebook and me watching it and getting comfortable with it, that helped me. And so I kind of wanted to pay it forward tonight, get vulnerable with some of the crazy shit that I've been through, and say, like, if you're going through something, share it with other people too. I love this fuck-up nights thing, so. Thank you. Questions?
Thank you so much, Martin. That was awesome. I'm tempted to say how you like them apples, and also that you may have just set the Fuck Up Nights record for number of slides. We've got time for a couple of questions.